first talk about Parker's medical history.
Certainly.
Now, you are aware of Parker's medical history up to the point of her death.
Yes, I reviewed that when reaching my conclusions for my autopsy.
And specifically, you knew that Parker was diagnosed with osteogenesis imperfecta.
Yes, sir, I was.
Now, someone with this disease, brittle bone disease, is more likely to have their bones fractured.
Correct. Well, that's kind of a misnomer. Typically, whenever an injury is sustained, they're more likely to suffer fractures than someone who didn't have OI.
Well, not just fractures, they're also more likely to bruise easier.
That's true.
And Parker had felt several fractures prior to the date of July 14th, 2018.
Yes, sir. Parker had, I believe, 4 fractures before she died, unfortunately.
Now, Parker Page was also substantially underweight for a girl of her age.
I suppose so. To my understanding, she was around 90 pounds.
Yes. So for a girl who is 90 pounds and suffers from brittle bone disease, even minor impacts could cause bruising to her body.
It's entirely possible. However, the interesting thing to note about the bruise on Parker's clavicle is that it matched the diameter of the hiking staff to the exact millimeter. Furthermore, the size of the bruise is typically not one that occurs in nature. It's a semicircle.
Well, I'd like to talk more specifically about the autopsy report.
Certainly.
So you were the chief medical examiner for this specific autopsy.
Yes, sir. I'm proud of it.
And your report contains all relevant medical information regarding the death of Parker Page.
Well, given what I was able to find and what materials were presented to me, yes, sir.
What you weren't able to find was anyone else's fingerprints on Parker Page's body?
No, unfortunately not. To my understanding, the hiking staff had no usable fingerprints on it.
You also didn't see anyone else's blood on Parker Page's body?
No, I did not.
You couldn't find someone else's hair on Parker Page's body?
That's correct.
And overall, nobody's physical DNA evidence was found on Parker Page's body.
That's correct. I don't believe that they would be close enough to be able to have any of that particulate DNA go onto her body. As I said earlier, I believe that she was pushed off the cliff with that hiking staff, meaning that they would be a pretty sizable distance away.
Moving on to the conclusions of your autopsy report.
Certainly.
Initially, you ruled the death as inconclusive.
I did. The way that I look at all the investigations or the autopsies, I should say, that I conduct, I look at them like a puzzle. You can't solve a puzzle without all of the pieces. When I received those pieces of evidence from Detective Chesney, I was able to find the last piece of the puzzle I need and be able to reach that conclusion.
Yes, it was a few days after the initial autopsy report that you spoke with Detective Chesney.
Yes, sir.
And after speaking with Detective Chesney, you made an addendum to the autopsy report.
Yes, sir, I did.
This addendum changed the cause of death from inconclusive to homicide.
Yes, sir. Once I received the pieces of evidence that I needed, I was able to reach my conclusion to a more scientific degree.
So a homicide, of course, would mean you concluded that Parker Page was murdered.
Yes, sir.
But what you cannot conclude is who murdered Parker Page.
Not definitive. However, what I can tell you is that the hiking staff was found in Jordan Ryder's tent on the morning of July 15th, 2018, which, to my understanding, was shortly after she was found by Detective Chesney.
Thank you. No further questions at this time.